this evening when I'm sure you'd rather be sitting in front of an air conditioner. I know I would. So, but I think, we've had a significant event in town this week, and I think it speaks really well of the residents of Dorchester that there's so much interest in it. I know there are strong feelings on a lot of sides about it, but the fact that you're here tonight and willing to talk about it and discuss it, I think is a really good thing. Let me just tell you a bit about the way tonight's going to go. We have a bit of regular select board business to take care of beforehand. Then we'll get to the highway section, and Larry and I have some things to discuss that we want to talk about the highway department. And we want to do that first before we open it up to public input, because our discussion may have some bearing on questions that you might have or comments that you might want to make later. When we get to the public input session at the highway, I'm going to pause for a minute and kind of lay out the ground rules for speaking, and then we'll go forward from there. So we have some videotaping. I know we've got the official videotape here. Mike, you're videotaping privately? And with whose camera is this?
That's the official one, I thought.
All right.
That's one I don't.
Are audience members captured by this camera?
To the front.
So just to the front?
Just, well, to the front, because you want everyone to speak up front, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the gist of where it was.
Okay.
Just so that.
We have to have the audience's permission, though, for private videotaping. Is everybody okay with these two cameras going?
Witness protection when I have to move back.
We can identify who's privately, who identifies who's privately.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Mike Woodard is privately videotaping here, and Cookie Heber is privately videotaping over here.
Are they doing that for themselves, or are they doing that for a third party?
Myself.
For myself.
Okay.
He
All right.
does it, and I think so.
This videotape here is the town one that will be posted on the website. Okay, so that's official. All right. Thanks, everybody. All right. The minutes of the June 16th meeting are incomplete. Is that correct? Okay. So we can't approve those minutes. The minutes of July 14th, which was our previous meeting, as I've read through them, I've got a couple of corrections and I've got a couple of questions. I can mark the corrections right on here for you. But I do have a question. Artie, if you remember, we were talking about FEMA grants and stuff for certain repair road. The way the minutes read, and this is not, I don't believe this is correct, so I just want to make sure that it gets right. It says, Artie Burdette states the town got a $20,000 grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency for repair replacement work, which was completed. However, now the road has water running down the middle of it, causing massive puddles. Treasurer Artie Burdette continues to state there is also a $30,000 grant for Cummings Pond Road. Oh yeah? Cummings Road was redone and built with said grant?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was storm damage money.
Okay.
It's not a, it wasn't a mitigation grant. It was how we did Province Road, Cross Road,
Okay.
Hebron.
Okay.
There were like 7 roads, Dorchester Road.
Do you remember what year that was roughly?
It was as a result of Hurricane Irene and then the water, then the storm event after that. But they were not mitigation grants. That was FEMA repair money.
Okay. All right. I just want this to be accurate.
Yeah, it's not a grant.
Okay, it's not a grant?
No.
So how would you describe it?
Probably the best would be the FEMA storm money for restoration of
Okay,
roads.
so got $20,000 in FEMA storm.
That's just that one section.
Okay, all right.
We probably had about 100,000 all total for all the roads, because we did some blacktopping.
Okay.
Then we'll wash, actually, it was your driveway, Larry.
Pardon me?
It was out of your driveway, the blacktop that washed out, around that time.
Down the hill, down below my door, yeah,
And Bigfoot Woods Road.
yeah.
It was,
Okay.
I believe that was Irene, but we had
Yeah.
another event after that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Steve, can I add that? All the grant stuff you should have.
Okay.
Should tell you how much, when, where.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure.
I shouldn't say grant. Restoration money, FEMA money.
Okay. So FEMA funds.
It was FEMA funds, yeah.
Okay, all right, sure. Okay, do you have any, other than the corrections, the small corrections that we made?
No, I don't see any other than the corrections that we have to make.
Okay, all right. I make a motion then that we approve the corrected minutes for July 14th.
I second it.
Okay, any discussion? Okay.
No, just the corrections to.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. I'll be discussing that.
Okay.
Okay, on the corrections are vote. Okay, the manifest for July 28th. A couple of points here. One, for some reason, the two invoices from you, which I gave to the town office, oh, wait.
They're on there, I sent you a correct.
I know, but and there's checks, but we don't have the corrected manifest with us.
Okay.
Okay, so we can approve this manifest tonight. It doesn't include those checks, but I can get the manifest signed.
Yeah, I'm just ready a couple more months, that's coming.
Well, it's a couple more weeks, okay?
Weeks, yeah, I'm gonna do 3.5 months already, so.
All right.
Yeah, it was paid out by the end of June, because that's when state stops their
Right.
fiscal year, so it's kind of like a month since
Okay.
then.
Well, we got all the town bills in the last couple of weeks from Hebron and all the other communities that participated.
That doesn't affect the.
Okay, all right. There is also a check on here to cover vacation time owed and apparently sick time owed to Dean Stockwell. This is based on Dean's memory of how much vacation he had accumulated. I have not seen any documentation of how much vacation is actually owed. I've actually never seen a contract for the road agent.
I've not seen a contract for that, Steve, but the way that accrued vacation time and sick time and personal time work in a general government setting is if it was due in prior years, it should have been accrued.
Right.
In those years with that budget. So I'm not too sure about this either.
Okay.
Because it's in this fiscal year, that's not in your budget.
Just to be prudent, I think the town needs some documentation to back this up. In case of an audit. It's entirely possible that more vacation time than Dean thinks he's owed is actually owed, and it's possible it's less. But I want it to be right, and I want to have some documentation to back up whatever number we use. So let's withhold that particular check this time around. Okay?
Approve his paycheck, just not the vacation.
Not the vacation check. All right.
I agree with that.
Any other comments on the manifest?
Yes, we need to be more careful with Anna's times and stuff, get straightened out, so that there's only going to be one check written.
Okay. All right. That's
Okay.
That's true. Okay. I move that we accept the manifest for July 28th.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Artie, before you come up and grab the checks, do you have a treasurer's report for us?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anna, this thank you letter from the Voices Against Violence. Okay. Voices Against Violence is one of the nonprofit organizations that we support with the town budget, and we got a nice thank you note from them. I won't read the entire thing. It says, many thanks for your town's generous donation of $50, which we received in our office on June 30th. As a result of your community's gift, Voices Against Violence will be able to continue to provide support and education to survivors in our community. Your annual funding helps Voices provide hospital and court accompaniments, emergency shelter for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, support groups for those whose lives have been altered by abuse, a 24-hour crisis line, trainings and workshops in the community, one-on-one support and empowerment, and assistance with rebuilding lives by help with accessing needed resources. It's a good organization, and I'm glad we support it. Okay, that's nice. I'm glad we got this letter. Okay, highway. The appointment of the road agent was terminated effective July 25th. On the Friday, that was Monday, on the Friday previous, the maintainer, Brent Noseworthy, quit his position. And the board also voted to eliminate the job of laborer that had been held by the road agent. At present, that means we have a highway department with no personnel. So we are starting from scratch and moving forward. Obviously, we need to get a road agent, but the only urgent deadline that I feel about it is that we have to have somebody in place before the summer, because we have to have somebody to plow the roads.
Right.
But I think it would be extremely prudent for the town to take its time and make sure that we get the right road agent for Dorchester. So my recommendation is that we put together a small search committee that has the responsibility of interviewing and vetting candidates, getting an ad out into publications, and putting together a job description that can be used to assess and use with candidates for the position. And that this search committee of 3 or 4 members would then make a recommendation to the select board for a hire of a road agent. We have some people in town who have great knowledge about roads and how they are best maintained, and I think that we should take advantage of that knowledge, and so that we can, again, get the best road agent we possibly can. So, in fact, one of those folks is right here. Brian Souza, would you be willing to be involved in a project like that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Brian, and then Souza is just like John Phillips, S-O-U-S-A. Any comments?
Now, are we going to come up with a job description, put an ad in as soon as possible?
Yes.
So, because time is of the essence.
Yes. As a matter of fact, Property Liability Trust, which is an insurance company, put together an extremely comprehensive job description for a road agent, which I got through the New Hampshire Municipal Association. I was pretty impressed with this document. It lists, for example, 25 essential duties of a road agent and something like 33 knowledge, skills, and abilities required by a road agent. Now, not all of this is applicable to Dorchester.
Right, I was just gonna say what applies to us, yes.
Yeah, but quite a bit does. I read through this thoroughly, and there's a lot of great material here that would be very useful in compiling a thorough guide.
I haven't seen this yet, but I would like to review it.
All for you.
Okay, thank you.
Anna, I have a copy for you, just have on hand at the office. I think also, when we get to the point of hiring a new road agent, we should have a formal contract, not just a verbal agreement, but actually a signed document.
Actual contracts, right?
That spells out what the terms of employment are, vacation, all that good stuff. All right. Well, let's get about putting that together.
Okay.
Like that.
Yep.
This committee, I think, needs a representative from the select board, and I think you would be a great representative.
Okay.
All right. Also, we need to conduct an inventory of the highway department.
Which has already been started,
Yeah, that's been started.
And clean up.
Right. I think that we should probably, the highway yard really needs to be cleaned up.
That hasn't been started, just the inventory.
Right. I think we should hire a small crew out of the highway budget, rather than have a big volunteer day. I think it would be better and more efficient if we just hired a small crew of people to fill in the highway yard.
Yeah, heavy equipment would have to be used to do it, so it shouldn't be done voluntarily. It should be.
Just stick up a little bit.
It's on here.
Sorry.
Is,
Instead of doing it by volunteers, I just said that it should be people, just a couple of people hired to take the wood.
Do what?
Clean up the highway yard.
Clean up the highway yard.
I have a question. Is the town familiar with the inventory from the Dorchester Highway Department done on April 10th, 2016? This is a 4-page document of all the parts and pieces that are supposed to be over there.
April 10th?
April 10th, 2016, yes. I have it right here.
Okay. Have you seen that?
I don't have it.
I haven't either.
No, I have a copy of it right here.
Okay, all right.
I'm not gonna give this to you because I probably want to see it again, so I'll make a copy of it and I'll give it back to you.
That's fine.
Unless you can get it right here.
Okay. We can get a copy.
Yeah.
We can send something somewhere.
It's all right here.
Who conducted that inventory?
You're responsible, I have no idea, your cousin in charge. I don't know who did that.
Okay.
You guys have that copy. Cookie gave it to us.
Right here.
Really?
You can look at it.
Okay.
Look at it, and I want it back.
Okay. Okay. Well, then.
Yeah, it is broken. Yeah. No, it doesn't have certain numbers, but it has lots of parts and pieces.
All right. Maria, if you say we have a copy,
We did. We each got a copy.
all right. I got to tell you, my inbox has got 10,000 emails in it, so.
Well, I'll try and get you out of one.
All right. So then, that being the case, if we have a copy, then we should audit that inventory of what's actually on hand at the highway department now.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Okay. Then finally, also moving forward, I think it would be important for the select board to do an inventory of the roads in town and problem areas and things that need immediate attention, things that need semi-immediate attention, things that can be put off, so that we can develop a schedule of maintenance and determine whether we need to hire any outside contractors to do any work before we have a road agent in the summer or what have you. And I would also like that inventory, once it's done, and that priority list, once it's completed, to be put on the town website so everybody has access to it.
I agree.
Okay. So let's try and get that in motion as soon as we can.
And then compile the complaints with the inventory of the roads so that they both match.
That's right. Okay,
Jay,
Jay.
one question. How come it's taken the select board so long to come to a conclusion that the town pit needs to be cleaned up? Because we have 22 pictures here of what is called the town pit. It's the most disgusting stuff that we've ever seen. Lack of organization. It is futile. This was taken Saturday of this past week. 22 pictures. Have a gander.
Well, you've seen it. You were
Well,
there.
yeah, you walked over there, well, how come it's taken this long? How come it's taken 3.5 months since we, I've been here every meeting for the last 3.5 months. I would like to know that question.
Why it's taken 3.5 months to
Yeah,
clean
for
up?
for someone to just go over there and view what the heck's going on. It's like, what the heck is going on with this guy, you know? It's disgusting. I would consider that disgusting. It's a waste of our tax.
I agree with you that the town yard
Is a pit.
it-
It's a toxic waste hazard dump. You know, I'm disgusted. I don't want my tax dollars spent like that, that's for damn sure. And my son doesn't want his either, we're pretty big taxpayers in town right here.
All right,
Yeah.
but your tax dollars will be spent cleaning it up.
Oh,
You okay
nice.
with that?
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's perfect. That really works for me. I don't think so.
Is this a public
I think,
input part of the
I
session?
think that the road agent should be responsible for his
Chairman, point of order.
definition of the pit.
Okay,
I think
all right,
that he should be
all right.
responsible for that. It says right in your.
Point of order, Chairman, if you're gonna let one, you're gonna let everybody
Jay, all
participate.
right, let's stop.
Point of order?
No,
You were
I
not
have,
recognized.
All right.
excuse me, I was talking first. I don't need
I
anyone
know
else.
you were talking first. We'll have a public input session, Jay, and I'm willing to listen. You know I am.
Right.
I'll hear the whole
I thought
thing.
we were ready for that. I thought this
We're
was
not there
about-
yet. I told you that we'd take a pause.
Okay,
All right.
so we can't say anything else about that.
You can when we get to the public input session about highway, which we're going to get to in about 30 seconds.
Okay, well,
All right.
sorry, I was a little premature.
That's okay.
I've only been waiting for like 3.5 months.
All right.
There is a plan. We spoke about having inventory. Highway did submit at the budget hearing a list of projects that need to be done. So just not to be redundant, we also have that.
Okay.
Yep.
2016
All right.
list,
Yep.
and I gave you a copy of that.
Okay. Obviously, people have comments to make about the highway department. Here's how it's going to work. When we're in a public input session, your First Amendment rights under the U.S. Constitution take precedence over anything else. The only speech that's not allowed is obscenity and overt threats of violence. I cannot prevent anything else, personal attacks, what have you. However, I do have the authority to adjourn the meeting or recess the meeting if it gets disruptive or argumentative, and I will take that authority if we cannot have a civil discussion. I realize, believe me, that feelings are high about this on both sides of the issue. But I have every faith that we can disagree without being disagreeable, and I hope that that faith is not punctured tonight. If you want to speak, you've got 3 minutes. So say your speech, get it all out, tell us whatever it is that's on your mind about the highway department, not anything else, and be done with it, and that's that. And we are ready to listen to everybody. So if you've got a comment to make, one way or the other about highway, we're here to listen. If you come up or want to speak, stand in the corner here so we can get you on the videotape, state your name, and we'll go from there. All right? Any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, so if somebody has something that they want to say, okay, Bob.
Would you like to stand over here?
Yeah, please, thank you.
I'd like to tell a story that I hope nobody here ever has to experience. And The story is about my wife fighting cancer for a year, losing that battle. And it's a pancreatic cancer that is so devastating and so painful that nobody ever wants to go through it, or you have to watch them go through it. 2 months before she finally passed, the day before her celebration of life, our phone line went off. Mind you, ability to call 911 when you have somebody that's dying and they could go into pain that's so unbelievable that there's no amount of medication we could possibly have that would stop it, set you over the edge. So when that phone line went out, I called the manager at the telephone company, explained the situation about my wife, 24-hour-a-day oxygen, that somebody had to be with 24 hours a day watching constantly. Please, come out and fix my phone line. She said, Mr. Reed, we'll be right there. And she called 2 of the guys that need to come out. They came out and they said, well, we need some help. Can you call the road agent? Road agent came out right away. So we had 2 telephone companies, trucks. We had a road agent there. And the road agent's trying to figure out where the phone line is having a problem, because it got buried. Wasn't in the ditches along the side of the road, which is where it was supposed to be. It wasn't on private property, where it was supposed to be, because it was a phone line that was run 20 years ago to go to a house at the end of the road. The phone company had a little device. He walks over to the middle of the road. The middle of the road. Not the ditch. The middle of the road, and said, the break is right there. We have to get in there. Dean, the road agent, helped us go down there. Why was a phone line that was in conduit in the middle of the road? Someone, 20 years ago, probably a private owner, ran it under the road. Not supposed to be. The phone line companies were sitting there going, this is not right. Apparently, when they were grading, there was a rock in that road. They took the rock out. Never saw that there was a conduit under there, but there was. Dean spent the time, got there immediately. The phone company got there immediately. They spliced the line. They came back the following day. They put a conduit in there in the middle of the road. Just a couple hours ago, I found out that the first reason on his written termination is that he helped my wife out when she was dying. That's the first reason in the written publication, is he went out and helped my wife. I will tell you that when the wrongful termination suit comes, I will be standing there and explain in detail the pain that I had to go through and how much it meant to me to finally have a phone line that worked. So that when we had to call one went with ambulance, that we did a couple weeks afterwards, because she was in such excruciating pain because her colon burst, and the gentleman from Whitemark Foreign Ambulance Service got there and got her to the hospital before she died, and she was able to last a couple weeks. So when that wrongful termination suit comes up, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be talking to the people there and the jury. And also, when somebody comes and says, hey, we got a legal fund to defend a wrong, and I haven't read the rest of this, I just read the first sentence, the first paragraph. The first paragraph is so much distorted that this town has such a big liability. Gentlemen, you should have done your homework, especially in that first one. You should have called, because you didn't. And I'll tell you, that's going to be a problem. We all have that liability, and it's not a small one. I have hundreds of employees I've had over the years. I've terminated hundreds of employees. If I saw this termination from one of my managers, they would be terminated themselves. My Lord would never let this happen, from what I'm seeing. The town has a liability. And by the way, thanks for making that the first one on my list.
I was, I'm right here. Bob, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss, okay? I'm sure everybody else here is too.
That has nothing to do with it.
Yes,
I'm talking about the first paragraph of the termination letter.
It doesn't matter.
Had to do with a situation that is misconstrued.
I'm
It
just
is
saying, I'm sorry for your loss.
misconstrued.
Right, it's my
Okay.
turn. My turn now, right? Okay? Are you familiar with Fairpoint Industrial Rebuilder Jeremy Ball? Do you
Yes.
know Jeremy?
Hello, Jeremy.
Yes. He's the one who did the work on that road right there, and he concluded that the line was ripped apart by an excavator because there was no rock on there. There's no way a rock could have done the damage, which would have been a crushing damage to the conduit at the course of the action. So Jeremy is a good friend of ours, and he's a straight shooter. He's going to tell us what's going on.
I was there.
I was also there.
Well,
And so two of my people were there too.
Larry Walker Sr. was here. Is Larry Walker Sr. here today?
No, he was not.
No.
That's a lie.
No, it's not right.
4 people were there when they were digging.
Hey, is this, okay, can we like have this one at a time?
Please?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Jay, it's yours.
Thank you. All right? So, this is not a back and forth, Bob. This is what actually happened, you know, and actually we heard that you were pretty upset by the fact that the road agent ripped up the line while your wife was in critical care at your house because you had no communications to get what she needed. If you needed more oxygen, or if you needed more drugs, or if you needed to call
Point of order.
for... Excuse me!
Just a minute.
Excuse me!
Select board though, rather than individual.
Correct.
You
Isn't that
guys...
point of order?
It's-
Isn't that?
You need to...
That's how it's
Should I
supposed to
call us
be. You're
this?
supposed to be running the meeting properly. It's supposed to be taken to you, not to us.
All right,
Especially when it's about personal stuff. Come on, guys.
all right.
Yeah.
Larry.
And calling us liars and stuff. Come
I'm
on.
not telling anybody
Okay,
about it. I'm
okay.
telling you what happened. I'm telling you that I interviewed
There.
Jeremy
Come
Ball.
All right,
Yeah.
that's
Excuse
it.
me. I had the floor, but
All
I
right.
lost the floor because you guys can't run the meeting.
All right.
You can't tell them to
Jay,
stop.
stand up there.
I'm done.
Address us.
I will readdress you again, but you cannot stop them when I'm talking. So you're not doing me any sort of service by letting them talk when I'm supposed to have the floor.
Okay, Jay, don't get into a conversation with them then.
I'm not.
Just talk
I'm
to
not
us.
getting into a conversation. I'm telling them what I interviewed Jeremy Ball, who repaired the goddamn the line.
Okay,
Okay? You know, it's like, come on.
okay,
The actual worker who did the work.
all right. Are we done?
Yes, we're done for right now.
Okay, thank you.
Great. The basic thing that needs to be brought aware here is that that whole situation could have been prevented if he followed.
Greg, just talk.
If he, well, I'm telling everybody.
Okay.
If he followed the basic guidelines to doing any construction work on any road, in any state in this northern region, you're supposed to call DigSafe before you do any road construction near any power lines, and especially if you work for a town.
It wasn't a
It says right in the regulations, first paragraph, and if he did that, On Target would have come out there and done the marking that they need to do on the lines, which they all know are there, and that's all they had to do. They have a scanner that they walk out there with, and they will find the lines, like Bob explained earlier, that
It's a
there
free
was,
call.
yeah, it's a free call, free service. I did it when I built my house. I was 19 years old when I called them and figured it out. I think a grown man can be able to handle that,
Every road
right?
agent in the country should know that.
Okay.
Well, that's my part of it right now, but
Okay,
I'm not
thank
talking.
you, Greg.
So in
Any
the
other-
future, do you want to have all road agents, when they move a rock from the exact middle of the road, called DigSafe?
Yes.
It's written in the laws.
It's already in the laws.
For the middle of the
Every
road?
time you
Okay.
get into a road bed, it's the law.
Okay.
One at a time, please.
Well, if it's going to be back and forth.
No, I don't want it to be back and forth. Anybody else? Angela, thank you.
Anthony Smith. The document that Bob Green had there,
Yes.
is this public knowledge? Or
It is not.
Okay. And I just wanted to understand that, because it's kind of
And I
difficult
will take that. Thank you.
for
And
those of us that really don't know anything about any of this, except for the passions of the client, and I understand Bob Green. I lost my husband 5 years ago. So,
What I can
I
say-
just want to get an understanding of
Okay.
that, because that was a lot of passion there, and possibly correctly, but if we don't know what it says, it's hard for us to understand, that's all. And I am sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It's a personnel matter.
Okay.
I'm not at liberty to talk about the details. Somebody else brought up a detail that was in the termination letter. I want the residents of Dorchester to know that this was not done casually or easily. It was an extremely difficult decision that we made with great care and not a little anguish. I also want the residents of Dorchester to know that we worked in collaboration with the town attorney every step of the way, and that the termination letter that was presented to the road agent, every word, every comma, every period, was reviewed and re-reviewed and approved by the town attorney as well as the general counsel for the town's insurer. Again, we didn't wake up one morning and decide to fire the road agent. This was a long, arduous process. It was done with extreme care. This select board takes its responsibility for acting in the best interest of Dorchester as well as protecting the town extremely seriously. I understand that there are people who sometimes will disagree with our decisions. I also understand that this is an emotional situation. I just want you to know that this was not done casually.
We thank you for your work too, because I know it's been arduous, especially as a news person.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you whether termination letters that are issued are part of the public record, or are they? I'm curious as to how someone other than the person receiving it may have come into possession of it.
Okay. I don't know how somebody else came into possession of it. The termination letter was presented to the road agent, and again, it's a personnel matter.
They're not part of the public record.
They are not.
Just so that's out.
That's right. Okay. They are not. Yes.
The information that we were given comes across as saying that it had happened in the ditch, which is, oh, I'm sorry, I'm Chris Green. It came across as if it had happened in the ditch, and that was what we originally thought, was that the line was in the ditch, because that's where it would reasonably be, and that's where on the box it said that it ran along the ditch. It did not, it ran through the road, which the first time that Fairpoint came out, they did not know that. They said, look in the ditch, we think it's in the ditch. Dean didn't dig deep enough in the ditch for it to possibly have hit anything. He looked and didn't find anything. So the understanding of how that happened seems to be incorrect. I realize that you guys have perhaps looked at this thoroughly, but it concerns me when you can't find the inventory and there's a lot of documents that you don't seem to be able to find and can't seem to sort through your inbox at all. When Maria and others seem to understand that these are documents that have existed for a long time, but you guys have come across as extremely new and not really knowing what all is going on, and so it's concerning. And that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Margaret Fraser. I live on Fair Road. I have noticed in regards to the plowing of Fair Road, it seems like the road is actually getting wider. Also, the electricity to our barn, the wire is out, active. I don't know if it's active, but it's been pulled out from the plow. Also, I've taken pictures of these. My house has been damaged by the plow and some of the trees up in that area. So, wondering what type of plow is plowing Fair Road, and if we can maybe get a smaller plow so it's not widening our road and not damaging our property. And is there any way that I could get a grievance? Or do I need to put in a grievance for you to look into that?
Yes, we have a complaint form, there's a stack of blank ones in the back. Fill it out with as much detail as possible, okay?
All right.
About that. Regarding the plow that's plowed your road, it's the same plow that's used on all the other town roads, wide and narrow.
Right, well, it just seems like the road is getting too wide and we don't want it to get any wider because it is a dead end. And, all right.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Before we move on, I think it would be prudent to take a 10-minute break and just let things cool down for a minute. I realize that some people came especially to talk about highway, and since we're past that part of the meeting, go home and have a nice evening.
Can I volunteer to be on the search committee?
Yes, you can volunteer. We will take volunteer names. Thank you. So let's take a break and see everybody back here at 7:25. Okay, folks, we're going to continue the meeting. Thank you. On to new business, a couple of abatements. One is my own fault. We've been distracted with some things lately, and I didn't pay attention to this one as closely as I should have right away. But there is, this has to do with the Harvey White, Ryan Harvey, Beth White, tax abatement. They had several years where they were overtaxed by the town. The previous select board voted to grant those abatements, but there was 1 year still remaining. And concerning, it's Beth, it's 2015, right?
It was just the June 2015 bill.
June 2015 bill. Okay. What I would like to do is I need to get the exact amount from CMP, which is the assessor, that would be refunded to Beth and Ryan. And then we're all cleared up finally.
We'll be all set.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is her email about this, and believe me, there's a ton of documentation about this.
Yeah.
And the previous select board was voted and was, accepted the abatement. So this is just sort of the remaining thing.
Okay.
So that I move that.
Remember the rest of it. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I move that we grant the June 2015 abatement to Ryan Harvey and Beth White. We'll get the exact amount from CMP.
Second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am glad that that episode is finally over.
Us too.
All right. Okay. There was one other.
That was June 2015?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Then, is Darlene still here?
Yeah.
Okay, kind of. All right, Darlene. You remember that we granted an abatement to the Rose of the Cheever Chapel, the Rose family. And then another abatement came, and this was for the June tax bill, right? And somewhat less. So we granted the one that involved the December tax bill instead of June.
Okay.
All right. I move that we sign and accept the abatement for the June tax bill.
Second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh.
Discussion.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Now we're going to move forward with having that parcel.
Yes.
With having that parcel surveyed.
Surveyed. We have money in the budget.
Okay. Yeah, it was put forward to it. Yes.
Right.
So we'll move ahead and then go ahead and move.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Discussion on that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay. One more item on new business. And this in Cookie this concerns the Emergency Management Director's office. The office had been at the highway shed. No?
EOC's always been in the town office on anything.
Okay. Larry, did you have a different?
Dean said something about it was going to be at the highway, the room upstairs.
It would have been upstairs, that other room upstairs that was going to be offset by the parts room that was up there as well. It's just going to be an office so if I need to conduct business. Or if an emergency did arise, that would also be the gathering place for any state agencies that I would have to call to be able to make a plan, to make sure the town was getting the assistance that it needed during the time. But the operations center is at 118, that's where I would be. But I would be able to relay between both buildings to be able to utilize at those.
Would it be better? Would it be better off just to have it up, have one place up like up at the highway?
You cannot move the EOC to the highway department because the generator that is there, just like the generator that is here, was grant money for the purpose of emergency management.
Okay.
So that cannot be done. Once, if you were to change that and put that as a public safety complex, and then put the generator in, then yes, you can make it the EOC. But until that happens, no, you can't.
Okay. And I got one other question. Now, the radio in the office, is that part of emergency management?
Yes, it is.
Okay, is that functional at the moment?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
Well, I have a question. I mean, how can you use the second floor of the highway department when you don't have any handicap access? You have to have an elevator to go to the second floor to have any public access to that. So there's no chance of that happening on the second floor of the highway department. Plain and simple. You know, it's like, come on.
Well, we can move it to the first floor.
ADA.
What?
It's the ADA.
Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
come on.
Yeah, we can
It's
move
not
it to the first
happening.
floor. Okay.
It's like, just.
All right. We just wanted to clarify where the emergency management EOC stuff was going to be headquartered. That's all we wanted. Okay.
And while we're talking about emergency management, is my request for a key to the office for that reason.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to determine.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I also have another question. I have a situation in town, I gotta open up that center, I need highway, I need backhoes, I need trucks, I need men, I need cones, I need signage. You can laugh all you want, Mr. Legg, this is really a very serious situation. We have an emergency management director, which is me, which has been doing this without any stipend or anything for the last 3 years. It is not something to laugh at.
Okay, so we
Mark me in the back of this meeting now how many times? Okay, my neighbors have told me.
All right, enough. Please, Marie,
we have an emergency.
Cookie, just let Cookie finish, please.
Okay.
So I just would like to be kept in the loop to who is going to be able to operate that equipment such if an emergency does arrive.
Okay.
How am I supposed to get anything throughout this town? Road goes out, what are we supposed to do? You know, there's several state agencies that would be coming out through, but yet it has to start here. And I'm sure Artie can also attest, you know, the importance of this and how this is going to work.
Okay, so
All right.
when it comes down to having keys for stuff, when we have to dispatch for a forest fire call, if we ever had to again, how come we don't have access to a vehicle to do so? We have to use our own personal vehicle to get to that fire.
I've never received a request from you for any other vehicle, so.
Well, we have a
Well,
vehicle.
our prior selectmen have told us that we have access to the town truck, the small one, because it has a pintle hitch on it to haul what we had for a trailer, which is the quarter-ton forestry trailer, which is pintle oriented, and has 2 boxes of our tools on it, so that's always been in play. The problem is like it never gets conveyed from one selectman to the next select board as it passes along.
You're right.
You know, so we went and we looked in the truck, and it was actually disgusting. We couldn't even get in there. We couldn't put 2 people in there. There's so much crap in that truck. They were sitting there, the new Ford. Right? Yeah. So it was like, there we are.
All right. Get the trucks cleaned up.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Cookie, anything else?
Not at the moment.
All right. Thank you.
I got something
Thank you.
else to say.
All right.
As far as like emergency management, we had a forest fire this spring. This is how this whole situation started. You know, and we had no help whatsoever from the road agent or his assistant as far as like getting the pictures from the camera that would corroborate the evidence that we needed to show that there was someone over there burning on fire. It's so funny. What was so funny?
I think that's all been asked and answered.
No, it hasn't been answered because first of all, we've been lied to by your husband. He said that he talked to the selectmen. That was definitely verified. These two guys never even heard about that, right? And Mrs. Wett, she said she was not familiar with that either. So he lied to me as state agents when we were doing the fire investigation, right? And there was no help whatsoever past that. We got bashed all the way along the line. Your husband promised me the pictures from that camera, the chip. I told him not to read them by the end of the day, and I got no call from him, right? I'm a state agent when I'm investigating a fire. I hope you realize that as emergency management. And then you actually went, you interviewed the landowner who where the fire occurred, and they weren't too interested in talking to me when I had a chance to go interview them. So I don't know what the heck you told them. And supposedly they paid you like $25,000 for the bridge that seems to be missing. So why don't you come up with some answers?
Absolutely, Mr. Leonard.
Yeah.
Can I address this? Thank you. The foremost.
Can you come up front?
Cookie,
Yeah.
cookie, come on up.
Alright, so I guess the first question is, does the see about the camera? Which was my personal property, it belonged to us.
No, it wasn't property.
No.
Tiny's Jay, let Cookie finish,
But
please.
anyway,
It did not belong to anyone, it was ours. And we put that game camera up because of the theft of signs, which I think has already been asked and answered. Correct?
I have no idea what I did the camera.
Well, that was the reason. So when we were advised by you, that you won't go there.
No, I wasn't advised. Requested.
Yes, you did. But there's a chain of command.
All right.
The chain of command was followed because the current board chair had advised us to wait to get it to the ranger. Because according to the chain of command, you don't investigate fires.
You are full.
He does. He does.
You are full of
He can direct you. He can direct him. Sorry, well, the RSAs don't state that.
Oh, yeah, they do. I
I'm
gave you
sure
the
they
phone.
do.
So anyway,
This lady needs to be,
Needs to get out of this.
get out of here. She does not know what she's talking about. We've already proved to you what my responsibilities were. Artie Burdette asked me 3 meetings ago what my responsibilities were as the forest fire agent, right? Yeah, I did. Yes, you did. And what was it? To investigate fires. It's my responsibility solely in this town. Plain and simple. If you guys don't understand that,
Jay, I can stop this right now.
Yeah.
It's true, I asked Ranger Sherman, the fire warden does
It's my
have
job.
authority
You know what
to
you're
investigate
but at
fires.
the time,
No.
Jay, please.
She's talking to me back and forth. She's talking to me.
Just talk, you know, I'm gonna end this meeting right now.
You should, because she needs to get the hell out of here. Yeah. She does not know what she's talking about.
Finish, please.
what else do you want me to tell you?
I,
I mean, at this point, you know, I mean, do
Tell us
not.
the
She will lie to them.
all right. Okay. Are we finished here on this?
I don't have
Thank you.
anything else to answer.
Yeah, so you stand on your condition that I'm not supposed to investigate forest fire. That's what you
That's
said.
what the chain name was.
Is that please on document? Can you please write that down there? Because I'm going to my forest ranger tomorrow. Okay?
Yeah, that's,
From the emergency management director, she should be fired right now because she has no freaking idea what she's talking about. I don't want this person in charge of anything around here when there's an emergency going on. Because, guess what? She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Okay.
She just proved it. She just proved
Well,
it.
if there's
okay.
anyone else that would be more than happy to step in.
okay, all right,
Why
thank
don't
you.
you step down?
All right,
Maybe that would be
Everybody,
better.
Please.
step down.
Jay,
Yeah, like,
all right. Look, you know how much I know that you take your job seriously.
Yeah, for a volunteer fighting fires for 14, 16
All right.
an hour. Yeah,
You know how I feel about that.
yeah, yep.
All right.
Fine, I appreciate that, Steve. It's not about that right now, it's about that.
I know. Look, we can't do anything while there's some sort of verbal battle going on. If you want us to sort out information, we will. You are right. I talked to Ranger Sherman, you
I
have
am
authority
right,
to
she's wrong.
investigate.
Right, can you tell her that, please?
All right, I just did.
Yeah.
All right, okay, yes, sir.
There was a witness just up here talking, and I just don't know who she claims to be. I informed her about the chain of command.
Oh, okay.
And I think it'd be in your interest to find out from her who she says advised her this individual isn't the one responsible and when she was
And
told.
who is? Please let me know, because I got plenty of better things to do, okay?
Okay.
If I'm not freaking responsible.
Maria?
I can speak directly to this, and Jay, we spoke about this over the phone. Dean had called me about the camera. He said he wanted to make sure he would get it to the proper person. I said I understood that. If you remember, I contacted Laura at the time, just for my own knowledge, our own knowledge. She emailed back, and I'm sure I still have that email, that Jay did not have investigative powers. So that was what we were on.
All right. Jay, I'll tell you.
The town.
I remember. The references to Laura, who works in the town attorney's office. That actually turned out to be bad information, though.
It did. And I have apologized to Jay in a public meeting at that first non-public. Jay, so I don't know why you keep beating this to death.
Beating us to death?
A mistake was made.
Beating us to death. There are bad actors in this town. If you can't see that, you know, it's like,
All right,
you
all right.
need this.
Can we move on? I think everybody's point in this has been clear. Okay?
Just one other point. Steve Sherman did issue a report citing the cooperation he got from the road agent.
As well as the fire board.
Forced cooperation. We had to get a warrant to go get
Okay.
camera and stuff.
All right.
Cooperation?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that document. Steve never sent me that document. I should have it in my investigation, so I'd like to see that one.
Well, I'll try and dig
Yeah, it's like, are you kidding me?
To see camera that didn't have anything on
Are you
it.
kidding me?
All right.
And then Dean lied also to the road agent by telling him that it was his camera, and it wasn't his camera. Tiny County owns the camera. Plain and simple.
It was
in
stolen.
the pit. Your son told us that when he was working for the town. He walked into the pit when it was just a trailer in there. They opened up the drawer and there was a camera in there. Your son's told us that. And why would he lie?
We have, all right.
Yeah.
We've tried to determine the exact ownership of the camera. There is no document that proves who actually owns it, so.
I've had Tiny tell me.
So we've just got people's word for it.
Let's talk to Tiny.
All right.
Let's have you talk to
I
Tiny.
have a question.
Can I speak?
Can we, yes.
I just have a question. I really don't care personally who owns the camera right now. My concern is the pictures, because that's relevant to the case. And those pictures should be in the fire warden's investigative report. So regardless of who owns or doesn't own that camera, the pictures need to go to the fire warden. That's the way it is. You can find out who owns it later, but the pictures need to go to our fire warden who's investigating it.
And that's all I wanted. None of this would have actually ever happened if I got those pictures that day. I hope everyone understands that. But once, you open up a can of worms, you find a bunch of mess.
All right.
So what did happen to the pictures?
They went to the force range.
Okay.
All right, 2 weeks
All right.
ago.
What we're supposed to do, we're supposed to get collect evidence. And bring it
All right.
Okay.
1 second. Please respect the fact that we have a relatively new administrative assistant, so when you want to speak and she asked you for your name, would you mention it?
Monica.
Monica.
Cox.
Thank you, Monica. I appreciate that. Okay, Cheryl and then Jack. Cheryl.
I spoke to Tiny. I actually physically called Tiny Coffee myself.
This was when?
When this was all going on with the camera.
So back in April.
Back in April,
Okay.
I called Tiny myself, and he did speak to me. In fact, that was his camera. That was on Province Road.
It was taken from the road agent, whatever, the pit or whatever you want to call it. It's a pit, I guess, from what I understand. And it was his camera, which was put out there, and it's his. He owns it. It was stolen from him. So there you go.
All right.
That's what I get with that.
Jack.
I just have a quick question, it's real short. Refresh my memory, why exactly was that camera put?
Okay.
Really?
That's a good
That
question.
is
Real short question,
Okay.
and real short answer should be.
And it's actually a good question. There were signs down on Province Road indicating that the road is, a dead end and the bridge was out. The famous Provincetown Bridge that we're trying to get rebuilt. Those signs kept disappearing. Somebody's taking them. So the road agent said he had a game camera that he could mount and put up and keep an eye on Province Road, and maybe we could find out who was stealing the signs. The select board agreed. Believe me, I think if the select board had known what a can of worms this would be.
Okay, you don't have to elaborate. I just wanted to ask, so the second question I had, the piggybacks on that is, was that divulged in a public meeting that those cameras were being installed on Providence Road?
Wait, it wasn't in a meeting that they were.
Well,
the
aren't you
agreement
guys
was made.
supposed to have meeting minutes when you converse and have meetings about that camera?
Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
This was before my time, I had no knowledge of it.
I'm just trying to understand it, because I'm having brain farts all over the place here. And I'm just trying to understand in places. So, was there a discussion with the selectmen about putting that camera down on Providence Road?
Or somewhere.
Province, okay. Now.
Yes or no?
All right.
Yes. No.
Yes, there was a discussion.
Okay.
Yes, there
Was
a
that
discussion.
in meeting minutes?
It should be.
It should be. So all meeting minutes by selectmen are supposed to be taken and they're supposed to be posted.
Right, yes.
Was that done?
I believe, Jack, that there is a line in one.
So isn't that defeating the purpose of putting up cameras clandestinely to capture criminal activity if you're posting it publicly? Okay, but that's fine. But were there signs put up saying there was video surveillance being taken place? I only ask this because I'm just trying to understand it. So I'm thinking of separate. And the only reason I ask is you don't have to go any further, but I think there's lessons learned here that we shouldn't be installing cameras.
Oh, God, yes.
And secondly, yeah, we should be aware of that, and we should never do this again, and we shouldn't tell people.
I can tell you right now that this select board has definitely moved on.
Yeah, I only say it because I can see this, where this went, and I just wanted to clarify that in my head.
Andrew.
I don't want to belabor this.
Okay.
But the issue of who that camera belongs to is totally incidental. If somebody in authority is investigating the crime, if I happen to have my video to my iPhone on me and I see a car wreck when I'm doing a selfie behind me or something, the cops have every right to take that camera away from me and download those images. And they won't give me back that camera until the investigation is completely over. So my point is, it doesn't really matter why the camera was there or who owned it. There was reason to suppose there might be evidence on that that might lead to the solution of a crime, possibly. That's all I wanted to say.
I also want to make the point that because this is a gray area for the select board. Ranger Sherman, who is the ranger for our district, actually has the legal authority over the fire warden and over the whole thing regarding fire investigations and fire apparatus and the fire company, the whole thing. He's in charge. He has the legal authority. The fact that the road agent, who was a town employee, was involved in this connects the board, the select board to this in an indirect way. But we don't have authority to make a decision one way or the other about some of what's been discussed tonight.
So just quickly to cap it off, I think there's lessons learned here.
Yes.
And I think there's enough blame to go around. And I think we should move on instead of focusing on the past and what was done or was not done, and take this as a lesson on how we should proceed in the future. Because I don't see any advantage to proceeding with rehashing this over and over again, other than making you want to go out and have a cigarette and get away from I mean, I think we've learned something here. Don't, on everybody's part.
Well, I want to say personally that with the new situation at Highway, my focus is on the future.
Right.
Exactly. If something comes up in court that we have to contend with, cross that bridge when we get to it. But I'm thinking about the future. I believe Larry is too. We want to create a highway department that we're all proud of, so that we have an infrastructure that we're all proud of.
I have something to say. I don't think we should walk away, though, from what's been damaged by the previous road agent. If he's responsible for, reimbursement for what he's done as far as like bad stuff, I think we should pursue that too, because I know it's there.
Okay.
Very simple. So I don't think it's just like, it's like we're just not going to be like Lucas Tree, who was his previous employer, and said, okay, even though you stole from us, you're just fired, but we're not going to like do anything about it. So,
I don't know anything about it.
yeah,
So
I'm just saying, I think you should make sure we get what we paid for, basically.
Okay. All right. Ally?
Yes. I'm just wondering, when you hire a new road agent, if you're going to do a background check?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
They got to.
That's
Yes.
part of the search committee's responsibility.
Yeah.
Good.
Should have made that.
Ally, your last name?
Martin?
Oh, Martin?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have some documents to sign. We seem to kind of have the public input kind of lead all over the place, and I'm sorry about that.
What do you want to do? The old stuff needs to be on business.
I've got three signed and then old business.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right. Okay. This is, yes.
No, it's a little high. Because he wants to, he's going to do the he wants to think of like chartering boat. A lot of people do that. We have family down in St. They actually every really good. They're still like, we do this coming up with when to go, not to go. We have a little business it's fun. It's really good. I didn't want to start you just go sit there.
What are you doing next?
We got a couple of old business items and we'll have some public input and that's it. Okay?
All right, so will you stay for public?
I You want to dance like 8 to 10 miles an hour. He just recorded, he just was invited to record jazz. Really good yeah, we'll get credit out. Jazz. Yeah, so we're kind of sure. He does. I'll do it. I get it. Not that. 7 tours a day. So it's like 70 days a year. And then that's you know, I play the first. I have
All right. We have, folks, we have just a couple of items about old business to attend to, and then we'll have some public input, and then that'll close off our meeting. First item on old business is LexisNexis books. Remember, we talked about this at the last meeting. There are no hard copy books of the New Hampshire RSAs at the town office. I have not yet had an opportunity to find out what the cost would be to buy a new set of those books. Updates to the RSAs are available online, but we don't have the original hard tell what's being updated, you know, what's being crossed out. So I still need to find out.
You want me to check on the cost? Or?
Hey, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, and John. Yes.
At the town office, we went up there the other day to just get a local road map of Dorchester.
Right.
Every floor is empty. There aren't any maps in the town hall of anything.
No, there's, I mean,
I'm just telling you what our experience was.
Okay.
And I would suggest it's something you might want to look into, because there should be maps, local maps available
okay.
to homeowners and property owners.
Well, there's the property tax maps. There's a big binder full of them. So you have
We
to get
asked-
property maps.
We asked for a local road map for Dorchester, and there was nothing that
Okay.
could be made available.
I don't think I've ever seen a local road map.
The town paid like $40,000 during the Burdett selectmanship to go have the whole town remapped and have.
And we haven't gotten that done yet, and that's been slow, and we haven't paid
I'm just
full
saying,
yet until
that's,
we're.
yeah, just like it's supposed to be there.
John, yes.
People need,
I have seen that.
people need to get the RSA. You can go to the stateofhampshire.gov.
Right.
And they're all in that.
Right, and that's true, but not everybody has internet.
Oh, that's true.
Access.
But you can print them. And the cost of printing is much less probably than the cost of obtaining the whole book.
That's probably true.
Where you come?
No.
The whole copyright infringement?
Yes, I think.
Oh, yeah, if, right, not, yeah,
Okay.
I'm not knowing your hours.
All right.
Be careful of that.
So where are they?
Dorchester still is looking for a town forester, and I hope we can start conducting interviews about that over the next week or two, okay?
Yes.
I've talked to one of our candidates who remains very interested in it, so we will follow up there. Yes,
What
Cheryl.
happened to the forester we had?
Oh, Rick Evans?
Yeah,
He
Rick
took a
Evans.
job with the department, he's now the state timber tax guy for the Department of Revenue Administration. So he got elevated.
Okay.
All right, he still lives
Nice for
down,
him.
still lives down in Canaan.
Yep.
And you'll still see him around.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
Do we want to have Anna coordinate us setting up interviews with them next week then?
Yeah.
Because I have a meeting during the week.
Right.
The ZBA and find out what other meetings are out, coordinate their own.
Okay. All right. Anna, I'll talk to you about that. Okay. And then I know that there's been interest about a third selectman. We have a candidate that we will be having discussions with in the coming week, and I'm hopeful that at the next selectmen's meeting we have a third person up here sitting with us, which would be very nice. That's all I have on new business. Larry, do you have anything?
No.
Okay.
Nothing I can think of.
All right, public comments. Okay. Monica and then John.
Right, Cookie said that she was just doing the EM job until someone else volunteered. Greg Legg would volunteer or not. I don't know how that works, you nominate or whatever, but I think Greg would do a good job since she said she didn't want to until someone else stood up.
I second it.
All right. It's an appointment made by the select board.
Okay.
So we would have to rescind the previous appointment when we do it. Okay?
All right, well, she's set up here
Okay.
on video that she would step down as soon as someone else volunteered.
All right.
She would have to resign first.
Are you resigning?
You want to resign, Cookie?
Are you resigning?
You said you want to resign?
No, she's
Yeah.
not resigning.
All right.
More or less.
You want me to
John.
get it integrated?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Very brief. I thought tonight we were going to need that. The AED. But anyway, I'm going to try to get set up with Steve. So,
Okay.
I mean, with what was his name?
Bill Wood.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Wood, Bill Wood,
Yes.
to help us out with the instructions on the.
Okay.
If you'd like it next meeting, I could try that, or would you rather the end of the month? Because you got a lot ahead of us.
Why don't we try it to the end of the month? Okay.
I'll work something out.
In case the agenda for the next meeting.
Maybe I can get hold of Mr. Barrington, so we'll still try.
All right. Okay. Thank you, John. Artie, did you have a comment you wanted to make? I thought you raised your hand. I wasn't sure.
The check for the $900 for the AED, the Scotia Bank,
Right,
they apparently sent it, but we didn't get it. I
right.
understand.
There's no record of it, so.
And now they are resending it
Okay,
to the office to my attention. I guess we haven't gotten it yet.
okay. We'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to let everyone know that Anna was a wonderful help to us when we came down to the town office the other day. And Anna, we have phone service now. It took 3 days. It took 3 days, but she really helped. We don't get any cell service where we are. The lines were down. We had no way to reach, and she helped us out tremendously. She's a wonderful asset to the town.
Good job.
The only other thing I wanted to say is that I think we all understand Mr. Green's loss, and we can appreciate what he suffered. I don't understand why he had someone in his wife's condition at that point not in a different, maybe more appropriate medical facility to attend to her during that period of time. That's a family decision, and I respect that.
Don't bring it up.
No, what I'm getting at is it concerns me that he comes in here tonight and it's apparently about a lawsuit against the town.
There's that line.
And I think we should all think about and be concerned that one of our community members is speaking in that way about a lawsuit. And obviously he's not saying he's behind it. But that's the point I want you all to leave thinking about.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
I take that as a threat. Yeah.
All right. Any other comments? Mike?
Who is the people you're going to be talking to about selection?
Who's the person that we've been pretty quiet about all the other candidates that we've talked to. And if the candidate declines, I want to get a response first. Okay? All right. And I know you put your name in, and I appreciate that.
I just want to make sure that's on the record.
It is on the record.
This person does not take it, would you consider me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Anything else? Mike, this is it. This is the last.
You guys have done a great job
Yes.
tonight.
Yes, you have.
Yes, thank you.
That's very kind of you to say. It doesn't really feel that way, but I think we should all break for beer.
Help you ground.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Do that.
All in favor?
Even Larry, can I say one thing? The two of you have done more
I'm sorry.
in the last few months that you've been together than it's been done in 3 years.
All right, Ally.